We are in Shmuel Aleph, chapter 14, verse 28. It says, Vaya'an ish meha'am. Remember, what happened was Yonatan had eaten from the honey after his father had declared that it would be a national fast day until they finished pursuing the enemies. He didn't want them to stop. And in merit of the fasting, do tshuva, and that way win the victory. Okay, win the battle, sorry. So it says V'yan, and now he's caught, and his eyes brighten. So what happens? V'yan ish me'am, so a man from the nation literally answered, and Vayomer, and he said, Hashbeya, Hishbiya. So what is this one thing? What does it say? Where is it down here? Hashbeya, Hishbiya, your father has surely sworn, or adjured the people, and Amle more saying, Aror ha'ish sheyochal lechem hayom. The man that eats today will be, of course, would be the man who eats today. Vaya'af ha'am, and the nation, became faint. The people have become faint. Okay, so he says, and so the Meshuz Dava says, because of this, what does it mean that the nation made faint? Because of this, Naz ha'am ayef, and because they could not eat, the nation was made faint and tired, and stuff was going on. And the Malbim says, Ha'ish hazehu chiachlo, this man that reproved him, shloyatam agazera, that this was not the reason for the gezerah, for the enactment, shalo yid achru b'chanat suda, that they should not tarry in the preparation of the meal. Shalifizeh, and according to this, lo gazar rak ala chilat lechem kaviyut. According to that concept of not tarrying in preparing the meal, so the only decree was against eating, like we talked about last week, eating bread, eating a fixed meal. Ki halach behefer al yidei zeh ha'am ayef. So as a result of that, the nation was tired from pursuing after the enemy. And it would have been better that they had eaten, and then they would have had the power to pursue them. And certainly his intent was on the affliction of the people. They had sum l'shem, and that the fast and this affliction would be for the name of Hashem, who is the one who is anotein le'ya'ev koach, we said every single morning, the one who gives the power to the tired, V'ha Moshiach, and is the Savior. V'im came, and if so, Gamatima Asura. So also, tasting would be forbidden. Okay? Because if I'm relying upon it, when we say that in the morning, I mean, I don't know whoever has in mind, when we say the bracha hanotein le'ev koach, that the one who gives power to the tired, right? We say every morning. So I'm not sure who has in mind, that means I don't have to eat, or I have to taste. I think what we have in mind, and certainly Halacha has in mind, or the Gemara when they formulated it, was think about how you went to sleep dog tired. I don't know where the expression came from, dog tired, but okay, fine. But you're really tired, and you wake up the next morning after shutting your eyes, lying down in your bed and sleeping, suddenly you wake up refreshed, recharged, and ready to go for another day, right? You didn't do anything. As a matter of fact, you didn't eat, you didn't drink, you just lay down. And you went to sleep, and your mind went wherever it was going to go in your dream world. And then, but the problem lot is, you wake up the next morning, and you are refreshed. So we say, Anoten li'a'iv koach, the one who gives power to the tired. That's where we're coming from. But here, this person, or the Malbim is saying that this whole concept was, that's why they were, that's why the people were answering or saying to How did they say? They didn't say answer. They probably said. Called out. Okay, called out. That your father said not to do it because he was looking for fasting as an inoi, as like I said, an affliction to us, which should be a tshuva, and ultimately miraculous. Because if we're all not eating and we're pursuing and we're doing all these things, it's only Hashem who's giving us the energy to do this. So that would be a double proof of God running the system. Okay. V'yomer Yonatan. So Yonatan said, Achar avi et haaretz. My father has perturbed or he says perturbed the land. So, which is interesting. Again, Achar could also be disgusted, but okay. So, Achar haaretz, my father's perturbed the land. Ru'u naki o ru'enai, please not, or see now, please see. Again, that whole concept of what does not mean. That my eyes are brightened. Ki tamati, because I tasted ma'at devashazeh, a little of this honey, and my eyes he got a sugar rush. Let's face it, that's what he got. Say it again?
Blood sugar was low.
Probably. So you're not eating all day. So that's what, think about why is it that when you're you don't drive yet? God will it. No, you don't drive by yourself. You don't have a license. Okay. So when you get a license, and you say bye-bye to mommy and daddy, and you go on your little way, and your brother's not in your car, you're the owner of the car. Everybody does this. They go on what's called a road trip. Okay, wherever they're going, they end up driving. Sometimes people like to stop. Other people like to drive through. Right? I don't know. What's your method? Drive through? No, you stop. You like to stop. Now you stop. Originally, did you stop?
What do you mean, when going to a distant...
When you were younger, did you stop? Or did you go?
When
you were going on a long trip. 12-hour trip.
You mean stop overnight?
Stop on the road?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah? So, we never stopped. We always went straight through. So what happens? When you're driving straight through, you're looking straight through. You're looking across, right? And you're looking on the road, or you're in traffic, whatever. But you're looking on the road. All this on the road is cows. Cows, grass.
Yeah.
This is not as scenic as Canada, by the way. Canada is beautiful.
Really?
You're looking around. Yeah, Canada is a beautiful highway. I love Canadian highways because they're rolling highways. Here it's trees as far as you can see, because that's what we like to do. No distractions, as it were. You're just bored. So what happens? You get tired. So you pull into a rest stop. You fill your gas up, and you buy a Coke. Why? Coke. Any one of the caffeine drinks.
Yeah.
You buy caffeine, and now they have the little things so you can get the 5 hour, but then power hour. But why do we take the caffeine? Because it woke you up. It woke you up, and you could drive for. Now, if you really want to go on a high test, you go on. I'll advertise for the Mountain Dew. You get a nice 2 liter of Mountain Dew. Chug that down, you'll fly. You can go for days on Mountain Dew. You really can. I mean, you're gonna go crazy, but you can go all you can go. It's crazy. But that's the sugar rush. So that's what he did. He got a sugar rush.
I would do that while driving. Yeah.
For driving, you think the roads in Indiana, think the highways here are boring? In South Dakota, or any of the Dakotas, it's just
Flat.
hills. It's flat. It's not even. It's not even hill up. It's up the hill, down.
But I'm just Canadian highways. What I was on was rolling. Farmland. It's so beautiful. It was really beautiful. It was a very relaxing drive. It was long.
Depends on where you drive in the States. Like if you drive, you take Interstate 70 across Missouri. That's all you see is pasture lands and cornfields. But
you would. But here you have the guardrails. You have everything else. In Canada, it was just a pleasant highway.
You're talking. Not like an interstate highway.
It is their interstate highway is not like ours, but I mean, if you go to Montreal, yes.
No guardrails.
I don't remember any guardrails where I was. I don't. I was on a major highway, like Route 102 or whatever it was, in New Brunswick. I forget which one, 1 or 2. It's either 2, I think it's 2-1, to get there. And I don't remember guardrails.
Oh, you know what? You take a train across the United States. That's much more because then you got.
But then you're not driving. But then you're not driving.
Big window, huh?
But then you're not driving. So then you're just bored. But here, when you don't have to stay up, you can always go to sleep. But here you have to stay up. You're driving. So you have to stay up. So I used to have my my chips and my Mountain Dew. Fly. Yeah. So that trip would always take at least 10 hours. 10 hours one way. So, yep. Good old days. The good old days when I was young and foolish. Now, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. I had to, but okay, weiter. So he says again. So he said, "My father made has from the land. See, my eyes have opened because I've tasted a little bit of this honey." Right. So he says, "Yonatan hashiv." So he answered one on the gezer itself, on the edict itself, that he didn't know of until now. Never heard of it. And he said, my father betrothed the land. Why? It wasn't good with this gezer. It wasn't a good enactment. He holds it wasn't good. Why? And 2. He said, see now that my eyes have brightened. He had like a hunger attack, whatever. He understood. He understood. He was strengthened that Shaul decreed this in order that they would not they wouldn't stop to eat. They wouldn't stop pursuing after the enemy in order to eat. And he said, so my father has made this whole land disgusting, or again, it's whatever it's perturbed. Because in truth it was not good to reach this thing in his curse. So he changed it and he said, see, that my eyes have brightened up because I tasted something. I tasted this little honey. And if that's what renewed my energy, now let's go to the next pasuk. Kilu achol achal hayom ha'am. Now, if it were not for the nation eating today, mishalal oivav Hashem matzav, from the plunder of his enemies that he found, ki ata lo ravta makab plishtim, that now the Pelishtim would not have had such a, there would have been a greater slaughter of the Pelishtim. You hear what he's saying? So if the people have eaten today, then they would have been able to pursue more. If I just got my energy from a little bit of the honey that I ate, and now I'm ready to go for another 5 miles, I got my energy drink, how much more? So they would have had something. So my father's decree was not that it wouldn't make sense that him to say you can't have anything. It was just that you can't have a meal because you're going to stop from pursuing because you're hungry. Let's sit down. When you have a meal, I mean, they used to say, again, when I was in high school, I don't know if anything they told me in high school is true. I'll say that straight out. But they used to tell me that in Europe, that at 2 o'clock, people would, 12, something like that, at lunchtime, they would stop their work, they would go home, have a nice meal, and then an hour or 2 hours later come back. It doesn't matter. Was it true or not? It is true. Okay, fine. Okay, they would stop it in the middle of the day. And what are you, crazy? It's the middle of the day. So you can imagine, okay, we're hungry. Okay, everybody, put the bell down. We're going to eat. We're going to have, Philistines won't run away. You're going to stay because you're hungry too. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay, you're in pursuit. So, but if you would grab a little power drink, so no big deal. Throw the Coke down your throat. Have a little berry. Make sure it's not poison. But have something to eat, and you'll have energy. You'll pursue more. That's what my father wanted, not the other thing. So he's already parsing out. By the way, this is the beginning of rabbinics, if you will. You'd say the halacha is this, the halacha is that. Let's look at the reason for the halacha. Okay? This is why people always love to pick on rabbinics, right? Even though I don't hold by it, but that's why they like to pick on that. Because they're trying to figure out what's really going on. So that's what he's arguing. So he says, Av, kilo achol. So then again, the Malbim is saying, Kol shekain, lu achal. If they would have eaten for today from the plunder of the enemy that they found, shayu geborim besusim betit v'chotzon, that they were strong with the horses and so on and so forth. Amar kilo hayu mevatalim al yedei kach. Okay. So they would not have stopped from this. They would have eaten from the plunder that they found prepared before them, and that which was a lot and prepared to eat, because the Philistines thought they were going to win, right? So they have a cook, so they're cooking with a big deal. Okay. And now, because now Ratz lemor shagam shayumavatlim az be'ed achilatam. But now, since they did not eat, I'm sorry. So even if they would have stopped a little then to eat, would it not have been a greater killing of the Plishtim? And that which they lost today, at that time, because of the meat, because of the eating, now they would have profited now to pursue them even more. So because you guys are tired and you can't go anymore, okay, it's true that God is the one who anotin your koach, but we also know you don't rely upon a miracle. So you should have eaten. Okay, that's what he's arguing. Very good. So he says, "V'yaku b'yom ahu Pelishtim." Now we're going to hear that they killed on that day amongst the Pelishtim. Michmash Yalona, from Michmash to Elon, to Ayalon. Okay. V'ayev and the nation was very faint. That's it. Yeah, they were very faint. So he says. So the Malbim says.
Who became very faint?
The nation, the Jews. Because they're not eating. Remember, they chased them from Michmash to Ayalon. What?
Did they end up hitting them, or they just chased them?
Well, it says they killed them on that day from Michmash to Ayalon, and the people became very faint.
It calls me like, we'll chase these guys, but if you're both running on fumes, you'll end up just chasing
No, they killed them. They killed them. But what Jonathan is saying is that if they would have had more energy, they could have killed more.
Oh.
That's what he's saying.
Huh.
So was Jonathan punished, or was that?
Oh, you're going to have to wait. You have to wait. I'm trying to get there. Was he punished or not? You're going to have to wait. Okay. So what happens? Vayasa'am el shlal, you should be read hashlal, excuse me. Fine. Oh, there's two creeds here. Vaya'at, not ya'as. There's two creeds. Okay, it's written vaya'at, but it should be read vaya'at. Vaya'at ha'am el shal. So the people flew to the spoil. It's interesting that.
Vaya'at?
Yeah, vaya'at is in. You have to look. I'm guessing down, right? It's down at the bottom, right? Vaya'at. So vaya'at is flew. But so it's written vayas, you read it vaya'at. Okay?
That's a major mistake or a difference.
No, it's a difference, that's all. It's not a mistake. What?
Is that for
That's Ketiv Ukri.
What?
Is what we call Ketiv Ukri. What's written and how you read it.
Well, the reason that how we read it, like flying down, is that
Read the difference.
Not lying down. Vayas.
Flying down.
I'm just trying to get the difference between the shin and the test.
You mean you're asking why we written vayas but read vayat?
I mean, that's a big difference in the different form of a different letter. I mean, it's.
Oh, but anytime you're going to have in the Torah, you have words that are written one way, totally read a different way. It's just the way it is. So you have to. I can't answer why it would be, why would the Ketiva create? I can't answer that. I can't even guess at this point.
So the flying down, is that a descriptive thing, like vultures, or like, as opposed to just
Okay.
you descend on
Ravenous, ravenous.
But as opposed to like they left at it, they ran towards it, they swooped down on it like vultures and came down.
Right. Yep. Yep. And also the interesting is El Shalal is how it's written, but it's read El Ha-Shalal, the plunder. In other words, what is it? Did they run down to plunder, or did they run down to the plunder? Did they swoop upon the plunder? So it makes sense that they went on, swooped on for the plunder. Okay. So what they took the sheep and the cattle and the young cattle and they slaughtered it to the ground. And the nation ate it on the blood. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Let's look at the Rashi first. So the Rashi says, Rashi says Vayaz Ha'am Kamova, and he says, Rashi says Vayaz Ha'am is Kamova Ya'at Ha'am. He says when they said the nation made, it's similar to the nation swooped down or flew down. Lashon Ayat. Okay, so that's interesting. He's getting that from Breshit. So if you have go what? Ayat is Ya'at. Ayat with the Shorosh. So if you go to Breshit, I don't have the Breshit with me, but if you go to Breshit 15:11, then you would see the same sort of language apparently. Okay. So Uvakar, and then he says the sheep, the cattle, and the young sheep, Omer, and so Rashi says, I say, Ze Oto V'Epano, that this is the mother and child. When the Torah says Oto V'Epano Lo Tshatu, that the mother and child you should not slaughter on the same day, L'chach Kara Am Chotim, and that's why they're called sinners, because they were slaughtering mother and child on the same day. Okay, fine. But the rabbis say B'shchitat Kadshim, that what was their sin? That they slaughtered Kadshim, holy objects. Shayu Makadshim Otam Shlamim, because they were Makadish these things to be peace offerings. Yochlim Lifnei Zrikat Adam, and they ate it before the sprinkling of the blood. When you offer a offering, you have to sprinkle the blood. Once you sprinkle the blood, then you can eat it. Before, then you can't. So that's Shehu Sha'amar V'yochal Am Al Hadam Al Dam. That's why it says that the nation ate on the dam. What does that mean? Ochel Kachim V'dayin Dam Mizrach, and they ate the kachim while the blood was still in the bowl. They didn't sprinkle it yet. So that's considered eating on the blood.
So they didn't eat them raw. They just didn't separate.
They didn't do it properly.
They were famished and it caused them to do that. They flew to this way, and they just killed it and ate it. They didn't care what it was and whether they took the blood out or not.
No. See, that's what I'm saying. Rashi's saying no. That's wrong. They offered it as shlamim. They cooked it. They did everything they should, but they ate it before they sprinkled the blood.
They didn't finish.
So they didn't finish what they should have done. In other words, I make a shlamim, right? You're the Yisrael. So you bring me the kohen, the shlamim, and I put it up. So you're going to eat the shlamim. That's a peace offering. You get to eat it. You get to eat it and invite your friends and family. Fine. So what happens is, in order to make it good for you, I have to sprinkle the blood. If I don't sprinkle the blood, you can't eat it yet. So what happened was that they didn't sprinkle the blood yet from before they ate. That's what Rashi wants to say, and therefore that's what was the sin, because they were makadesh everything. In other words, if they would have made a chulin, if they would have just made a regular, we wouldn't have sanctified anything. We wouldn't have said nothing. Then we would have simply slaughtered it, roasted it, and have a good time. Okay, you don't have to do anything. Nobody's so ravenous they're going to be having. I shouldn't say nobody's so ravenous, but they're not that ravenous. They're going to do that. I mean, think about it. They had meat. Who eats raw meat like that? Nobody eats raw meat. You're not. Not like that. Unless you're Henry VIII. I mean, you're not going to do that. Not even Henry VIII had raw meat.
What?
Henry VIII.
Aye.
Not even Henry VIII had raw meat. I mean, he cooked a big. He's only a picture with a big, gigantic turkey leg.
Oh, that.
That's Henry VIII. That's how we always picture Henry VIII. Okay. I don't even. Do they have turkeys in Henry VIII's time? There you go. So you couldn't have had it. But that's what they always picture him as. Turkeys.
It'd probably be a pheasant over there.
Pheasant? Okay, there you go. Okay. I just remember the big chicken leg. Right. All the pictures. So, yeah. And that's what it means on the dump. That's what it means they ate on the dump. Because and Rashi's trying to get us out of that picture that they were so crazy they were just going. By the way, if they really were starving, there wouldn't be a sin.
What about the mother with the calf?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it really would be starving, then it wouldn't be a sin. I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to live. So that's not a problem. If they were doing that, they were just slaughtering left and right. So that would also be asur, and that would be their sin. So Rashi is looking for their sin. What's because they're going to come up? It seems to be a sin. So Malbim says. Vishchatu Pirsha Vatenu, like Rashi brought down, the rabbis explained Shektishu Kol Shlamim that they sanctified all these things to be peace offerings. Vehem Aklu Lifnei Zrikah Adam. So that again they ate it before they sprinkled the dam, the blood. Zeh Shektuv, and that's why it's written that they slaughtered him on the ground below Mizbech, without a Mizbech, without a built Mizbech. Veyochal al Adam Ba'od Adam Kayim. And they ate it on the blood while the blood was still there. Fine. So that was. So he's saying they didn't take everything out. Fine. Let's go on. So what happens? They told Shaul saying, behold, the nation has sinned to Hashem lechol al adam, that they are eating on the blood. Vayomer begadetem, and he said, you've rebelled, you rebels. You rebels. You've rebelled. It should be, you rebelled. Let me see. You have transgressed. Okay, fine. Goldu elai hayom even gadola. So he said, roll a huge stone to me today. So what's going on there? It says, Hayom v'od yom, all still day. Rashi says, Lamata nema v'gishu ish shoro. Okay, that's what I want. Let's go right to the Malbim then. Oh, that's what I want. Ever Gedola. Asa Bama. He's making a Bama. Let's make an altar. L'zrok aleh dam. And then we can throw on that altar blood and burn the fats. In other words, you made it. You did something. Let me fix up the mistake. Okay, good king. What?
Let's do it right.
Right. Let's try to save the situation. So the Malbim says, "Begadetem, how did you rebel? How did you sin? Bekadshim, with Kedashim, with the holy offerings." So he says, "Roll today a stone, the Makom Mizbech, like I said, to be a Mizbech." Great. But so now Vayomer Shaul. So Shaul says, Patsu va'am, go out or spread out, disperse through the nation, V'mot and Lehem, and say to them, Hagishu Elai ish shara, each person should bring his ox, the ish sayehu, and each man a lamb or something. Was it? A lamb. Yeah, sayehu is a lamb. Okay. And you shall slaughter with this. What? Okay. Sayo is. It's interesting because he's saying lamb, you're saying sheep. I'm not sure. What's it? There's two different animals there, no?
I think the lamb is baby sheep.
Fine. So then let's not argue on the definition. If a lamb is a sheep and a sheep is a lamb, I'm not going to argue. Okay.
A kid would be a different. Kid is a baby.
Kid is a goat.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So now and then you slaughter it with this or in this, which is another interesting question. What does that mean with this? And so Rashi is kam b'makom shchita here in the place of shchita, okay, or davrachet sadak sakim bedak alehem. He looked at he inspected their knives. Okay, fine. Shchatim b'zeh v'yachaltem, and you will eat them. V'lo techetu l'Hashem lechol adam, and you will not sin against Hashem to eat it on to not all, but to the blood. That's also interesting. They would say el hadam. And then vayigishu kol ha'am, all the nation approached. Ish shoro biyado, each man with his ox in his hand, or halayla, the night. Vayishchatu sham, and they slaughtered them there. So he says halayla. Why the night? Behemot shel chulin nishchatu b'layla, because at night you can slaughter animals of chulin. Then there was non-holy animals. I can slaughter them at night. And the truth is, you have to just the halacha. You have to you can slaughter them as long as you have a big bonfire, a big
Light source.
what?
You need a light
Big light source. So you have to have a big fire going because you have to check the knife. You have to check everything. So it's not just a matter of shechting. Okay, so you said that's. Oh, I missed a line, didn't I? I'm sorry, I missed 35. Just go back to 35. Vayiven Shaul mizbeach Hashem. So Shaul built an altar to Hashem. Oto hechel v'no mizbeach Hashem. He began to build it a mizbeach for Hashem. So. Wait, did I skip something or not? No, I didn't skip. I was okay. Fine. I went too far, too quickly. Okay, so it says, "You shall slaughter it with this." So he says, "Makom zeh karol mizbeach." You're going to slaughter it in this place, close to the mizbeach, close to the altar. That way, you can sprinkle the blood on it immediately. Fine. So then, 35. Vayiven Shaul mizbeach Hashem. He built an altar to Hashem. With what? And he says, Oto Heichel, that he began, which is interesting. That with that one he started to build Mizbeach Hashem. With that one he started to build an altar to Hashem. She says, Vayiven min ha'evan hazeh, he built from this stone, Bana Mizbeach, he built an altar, Keep Oto Heichel livno, because with it, he began to build, which means Acha shehechel livnot oto be'et techilat shchita shechnehu nizbeach l'rak lo banu karoi v'nei chipazun am. That which he began to build the mizbeach at that time, he prepared it, but he didn't build it properly because the nation was rushing him. L'chein gemar ben Yahu achazeh. So that's why he completed the building afterwards. So he built, okay, interesting. He starts building it. He built the minimum amount he needed, and then the people did what they did, and then he continued on to build it properly. Okay, fine. Vayomer Shaul, and Shaul said, Nirda acharei Pelishtim. We will go down after the Pelishtim, Laila, at night, by him ad ora boker, and we will plunder them or spoil them until the light of the day. Okay, like the morning below nash irbahem ish, and there will not remain among them a person. Vayomru kol tov b'necha aseh, and they said, all that is good in your eyes, do. Vayomer el Kohen, and he said to the Kohen, Halom el Elokim, let us bring it further, closer to here to Hashem. So Malbim says, Vayomer Shaul Chashav. He considered kihem menusachim behechlet. He said that he considered that they would have a complete victory. Now all they needed to do was plunder the plunder of the Mchot Yeter Fleta, and to wipe out the remaining remnants. And therefore he did not ask the Urim V'Tumim. V'yomer Kohen Heishiv mi Yodea Im lo nitasu Shene Bareim. So the Kohen said, he answered him, who knows if we should go the second time into their cities? And therefore we should go to ask Hashem. So here you have Shaul acting independently, without Congress, if you will, saying we're going to do an attack. And so Congress says to him, or the Kohen says to him, I think we should ask before we proceed. I think we should ask Hashem what we should be doing. Okay, so you understand? Now, the interesting question that you have to ask yourself is, where did the Kohen get the authority? This is a test. Where did the Kohen get the authority to, as it were, override the king? No. Oh, not Shmuel would have. Shmuel was just repeating. Where did he ultimately get it from? Well, God, yes, ultimately God. But God said to whom? God said to Moshe. When Moshe, in this week's Parsha, Moshe asks, who's going to be the next leader? Right? So, and he wanted really his kids to take over. Rashi says, want his kids, let's pass on the throne. And so Hashem says, Yoshua. Yoshua will be the leader of the people because he always took care. He was always with you. But he says at the same time, Yoshua will have to, before he does anything, will have to ask your family, namely the Leviim or the Kohanim, the Kohen, should they go? Should they do this? Should they do that? No, the Urim V'Tumim. So Moshe at that point has the separation of powers, where he starts this. You need a conglomerate. It can't just be one person doing it. Now, because when it was Moshe, would always obviously defer to God, but now it's Yehoshua who, if he could have, I guess, would have deferred to God, but he didn't have that sort of communication with God as Moshe did. But the Urim V'Tumim is what's going to give that. So that starts that from that very spot is where we see this division of powers, where the Kohen can say to the king, "I think we should hold off." Well, let me ask Rabban Shalom what the question is, and we can figure out what we're going to do, and we'll see what happens next week.
Where was the Kohen at the beginning of this?
He was always there.
No, like when they went out to battle, like they're gonna ask him.
They asked originally.
Oh, they did.
They did.
Okay.
If you watch back in the videos, you'll see that we talked about them asking.